before, they demonstrated that they were impervious to the court of public opinion, which, frankly, the lower courts were not. Mr. Cosby, we knew all along he never should have been prosecuted for this. He had every right to rely on the prosecutor's word. And they pulled the rug out from underneath him because of politics, because of the court of public opinion, and that is not how our system should operate. When that happens, there cannot be a just sentence. And if there had been a just verdict and a just sentence, we wouldn't be here fighting. But there was not a just sentence and not a just verdict.
That was one of Cosby's attorneys, Jennifer Bongine, today speaking on behalf of the former comedian about his conviction being overturned. There are so many questions about this unexpected decision today, but to get those answers and insight on what we might expect to see moving forward, of course, we've got BNC legal contributor Paul Henderson with us. Hey, Paul.
Hey, Yodit, how's it going?
It's been a weird day. Now, listen, prosecutors screwed this up. I guess depending on who you ask. Some would say prosecutors did what they were supposed to do. Some would say they screwed this up. Now, what are your thoughts on today's decision?
Well, I love that we just ran that clip from the defense attorney talking about or saying that Bill Cosby never should have been prosecuted. I believe that is a bridge too far. That goes much further beyond what the facts and circumstances are. And I believe he should have faced a prosecution, but certainly not from that prosecutor's office, and certainly not with this evidence. I think this is really, when we're looking at this whole case, more of the law of agency. It's almost irrelevant who held the title of the prosecutor, but it's absolutely relevant who sat in the role of prosecutor, given the actions that had taken place with the civil liability and the deposition and the evidence that they used against Cosby, which was overturned by the Supreme Court. What I think is most interesting here is that this is an issue that was decided on legal procedures and had nothing to do with the guilt or innocence. And so I'm glad that we keep bringing that issue up to remind folks that this isn't diminishing the rights of victims. This is more about the legal process and due process that are afforded folks that are engaged in the criminal process. And certainly, as we look at the bow that has been tied around the criminal accountability lane, there is still the open, wide open lane of civil liability, and that liability has been expanded and is ongoing. So those civil cases are still ongoing. That's part of how we got into this mess with the criminal liability, was in dealing with the opening from the civil side, from the lawsuits that Cosby was facing, and in part based on the deposition that opened the door wider for that civil liability. So I think it's a really interesting legal issue, and here we are. Here's what we're dealing with.
So you agree that a deal is a deal, and when the prosecutor, Bruce Castor, made that promise, essentially not to criminally prosecute Bill Cosby, that the prosecutors should have honored that deal. So what did you actually make of the initial deal in and of itself? It seems strange to promise not to prosecute someone, but then in exchange have them testify in a civil lawsuit.
It didn't seem that strange to me, but I was looking at the bigger picture, and I think I understand why that prosecutor may have made that deal. I believe he probably made that deal to be more accountable to the victims that had pending lawsuits. And by forcing Cosby to go to that deposition, or by negotiating with Cosby to participate in the deposition and speak freely and offering him not to be criminally prosecuted, he knew that that would open Cosby up to civil liability, which would have a broader and easier status in terms of lawsuits that were facing him for those victims. That's a really interesting strategic move. Unfortunately, when a new prosecutor came in and decided to ignore that bound offer, that's why we had the problem. But I do believe that that was a calculated offer to try and broaden the exposure that Cosby faced from the victims. I would like to believe that that was based in trying to address the victims and trying to give them a recourse, even though that was a civil recourse and not a criminal recourse. And as it turns out, for that prosecutor's office, they couldn't have both, or they weren't able to have both. But it's still not over yet, because those civil lawsuits are still in the pipeline and are still happening.
What would you say to those who say, well, you know what, that agreement was oral. It was never, put in writing. Now, I know as a former prosecutor myself, I would make oral agreements all the time. That's just kind of how it went with defense attorneys. So, at some point you'd write it down in your file, but it would just be more of a conversation. What would you say to those who say, well, I mean, that agreement wasn't binding?
Well, I think they're wrong, and I think you alluded to the legal doctrine outlining all of that in the beginning of the show when you were talking about detrimental reliance. There is a measured action that was taken by Bill Cosby to his own detriment based on that agreement. And because of that, it is enforceable. So it didn't have to be in writing. It's one of the exceptions to contract rules that if you act detrimentally based on the representations from someone else, you can't then go back and say, oh, but it wasn't signed. Oh, it wasn't fully legal, because the other person has already behaved or performed in the manner that was negotiated. And in this case, that was the deposition. And so I think that is pretty rock solid. I don't see that being overturned anytime soon. And quite frankly, for those that were asking whether or not there are still some other way to prosecute him, the only other way, because this binding decision said that he could not be recharged, is to try and overturn that decision and get this case brought up to the Supreme Court. I don't think they have an appetite to reevaluate the Bill Cosby case, but anything is possible at this day and age. And
listen,
as much of a surprise
if they're not willing to take up voting rights, then I doubt that they have any care for Bill Cosby's case. Now, answer me this, Paul. Cosby's conviction. Cosby's conviction came during the. Oh, so go ahead, Paul.
I was just going to say, the Supreme Court has some cares. We just don't necessarily agree with all of them as it stands right now.
Exactly.
I'm still waiting for the opportunity for this administration to change some of the things that are happening with the Supreme Court. We'll see if expanding the court is one of the things that I'm excited about discussing and looking forward to that possibility to make the Supreme Court more reflective of the broader issues affecting this country. Anyway, I digress. Please go ahead.
Digress. Okay, so wait. So Cosby's conviction came during the height of the Me Too movement. So what kind of message does Cosby's release now send to other women who may be considering coming forward and pursuing charges against the men that have assaulted them?
Well, I think it's complicated. I mean, I don't look at this because, as I said when I first started talking earlier, that this isn't a definition of guilt or innocence. The court didn't get to that at all. And certainly we all have our own opinions as to whether or not he did it. The bigger issue, to your point, is the impact that this decision for the legal procedure will have on victims. I think that that victims should not look at this as a closed door, but an understanding of how the legal system works. And I'm hoping that prosecutors will double down in communicating to victims all of their rights and all of the opportunities that they have in order to hold folks accountable. I hope that what gets communicated out of this process is there are still open doors of accountability through the civil lanes that are ongoing. And that really should be the message as encouragement for folks to know and understand that their words matter, that what happens to them matters. And in part, this overzealous prosecutorial trick, as it turns out to be, was, I still think, on behalf of those victims, if it weren't just politically motivated independently. And so I think it's a mixed bag. I think it's a complicated conversation to have with the victims, but it's one in which I hope people are watching shows like this to really understand what the legal issues are and unpacking them in order to see how far agencies and individuals are willing to go on their behalf to hold an individual like Cosby accountable so that they know and understand that it doesn't matter who you are, that your celebrity should not be a factor. You are still held accountable for how you treat other people, especially when it drifts into criminal liability.
All right, BNC legal contributor and veteran prosecutor Paul Henderson, as always, thank you for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me, Yodit.